The world doesn't reward kindness, it rewards strength. This is the first truth most people spend their entire lives running from. We're told that if we're good, if we play fair, if we wait our turn, life will somehow repay us. But the world isn't a moral courtroom. It's a battlefield where power, perception, and precision decide who rises and who breaks. Every day, invisible wars are fought, through words, silence, and strategy. And only those who understand the rules survive them. Fairness is a story told to keep the powerless obedient. The strong learn to adapt, to mask their emotions, to move with intent. This isn't about cruelty. It's about clarity. Because once you see the world as it is, not as you wish it to be, you stop being a pawn. In this brutal reality, survival belongs to those who master it. The first illusion you must destroy is entitlement. The world owes you nothing. Not sympathy, not fairness, not reward. It doesn't care how hard you've worked or how much you've suffered. The sooner you accept this truth, the sooner you reclaim your power. Those trapped in victimhood cling to the fantasy that someone somewhere will rescue them. But waiting for fairness is how people decay. The Stoics knew this long before us. They didn't beg the world to change. They changed themselves to face it. Entrepreneurs, conquerors, thinkers, they all built their strength on one principle: adaptation over expectation. When you stop asking why me and start asking what now, you shift from powerless to dangerous. The world is indifferent, yes, but that's your opportunity. Because if nothing is owed, then everything you gain is yours alone to claim. Expect nothing. Adapt to everything. That's where true survival begins. Control is one of humanity's greatest obsessions and greatest deceptions. We chase it endlessly, over people, outcomes, and even fate itself. But the truth is cruelly simple. Control is an illusion. The world operates by chaos, and chaos doesn't negotiate. Yet within that chaos lies one thing that can be mastered: yourself. Your thoughts, your emotions, your reactions, these are the only territories that truly belong to you. Those who attempt to control others inevitably become enslaved by their need to dominate, forever reacting to forces beyond them. But those who master their inner world move through disorder with precision and calm, appearing untouchable. The Stoics called this the inner citadel, a fortress of mind built to withstand external storms. Modern psychology names it the locus of control, the belief that power lies within, not without. When you focus your strength inward, you stop being tossed around by circumstance. You become deliberate, calculating, patient. True influence doesn't come from bending others to your will. It comes from making them believe you already hold the reins. Mastering perception is the highest form of control. In chaos, composure looks like authority. Calmness reads as confidence. And perception, once established, becomes reality in the minds of others. Understand this paradox. You cannot control everything, but by mastering your response to anything, you create the illusion that you can. That illusion draws power, respect, and fear. Most people lose themselves trying to steer the storm. The wise become the eye of it. When you stop fighting chaos and start shaping yourself within it, you discover the only control that matters, the kind no one can take away. Fear rules more of this world than love ever has. It shapes nations, builds empires, and keeps societies obedient. From the silent tension in a boardroom to the trembling submission of armies, fear is the invisible thread that binds order together. Machiavelli understood this centuries ago when he wrote, "It is better to be feared than loved, if you cannot be both." Love is fickle. Fear is consistent. People may betray affection, but they rarely betray what they fear. To master survival, you must understand fear, not only in others, but in yourself. Most are ruled by it without realizing it. They avoid confrontation, silence their instincts, and call it morality. But self-preservation hides beneath every mask of civility. When you learn to observe what people fear, loss, rejection, humiliation, you uncover the strings that move them. Power begins where fear is understood. However, there is a difference between inspiring fear and spreading terror. Cruelty burns fast and leaves only enemies. Controlled fear, delivered through boundaries, confidence, and unpredictability, builds lasting respect. The calm leader who never raises their voice, yet commands attention with silence, understands the psychology of power. Authority does not require shouting. It requires presence. Fear, when mastered, becomes a form of emotional currency. You spend it through your demeanor, your timing, your restraint. When people sense that you are not easily shaken, They calculate their every move around you. You don't need to dominate them. Your composure does it for you. The weak let fear consume them. The strong let it inform them. The wise turn it into strategy. The goal is not to be heartless, but to be unbreakable. Because in a cruel world, those who do not understand fear become its victims, while those who master it use it to move mountains. And men, power is not always what you possess, it's what people believe you possess. Reputation is that belief, the projection of your strength into the minds of others. It is your armor in a world built on perception. Long before people meet you, your reputation has already spoken, judged, and decided for you. In every hierarchy, humans operate as tribes, instinctively categorizing allies and threats based on image, confidence, and whispers. To underestimate this is to walk into battle unarmed. Julius Caesar conquered not only with armies but with reputation. His name carried weight before his sword ever struck. Centuries later, Steve Jobs wielded the same principle. His reputation for brilliance and ruthlessness kept competitors cautious and followers loyal. They understood the golden rule of power. Perception often matters more than truth. Reputation can protect you like armor, but it can also become a cage if you let others define it. That's why the art lies in control, strategic reputation management. Never overexpose yourself. Mystery multiplies influence. Never explain too much. The more you justify, the weaker you appear. Speak little, act decisively, and let your silence build the myth. Your reputation should not merely reflect who you are, it should amplify what others fear or admire most about you. Cultivate it with precision, defend it with care, and never trade authenticity for popularity. In a cruel world, truth bends to perception. Reputation, once solidified, does the heavy lifting of power. It opens doors before you knock and closes mouths before they speak. But lose it, and the same world that once respected you will devour you without mercy. Build your legend carefully. Your reputation is your armor, and once it cracks, the blades of doubt will find their way in. Emotion is the oldest weapon in human history, and the most unpredictable. It has sparked wars, ended empires, and destroyed countless lives. Yet emotion itself is not the enemy. Uncontrolled emotion is. Anger, love, envy, and pride are survival instincts. But when untrained, they become openings, weak spots that others can exploit. The manipulator doesn't overpower you. They provoke you until you destroy yourself. To survive, you must learn emotional detachment, not coldness, but control. The Stoics called it mastering the self before mastering the world. Modern psychology names it emotional intelligence. The ability to read, regulate, and redirect emotion like a strategist moves armies. When you can sense others' emotions, yet reveal none of your own, you create imbalance, a quiet authority that unnerves those ruled by impulse. Your calmness in chaos becomes your advantage. Each time you withhold a reaction, you gain ground. Each time you let anger or love dictate your moves, you surrender it. True power lies in the ability to feel deeply, yet act deliberately. Integrate your shadow, understand your desires, and use them without being used by them. Because in the war of survival, emotion is both sword and snare, and only the disciplined know which is which. Deception is not evil, it's survival. Every society, every system of power runs on illusion, appearances, diplomacy, hierarchy, and masks. The truth is rarely spoken outright. It is shaped, filtered, and traded like currency. The most cunning individuals understand that honesty is a luxury reserved for those who already hold power. For everyone else, survival requires strategy, and strategy demands selective truth. Machiavelli wrote that those who cannot disguise their intentions are doomed to be devoured by those who can. Sun Tzu echoed the same wisdom centuries earlier. All warfare is based on deception. Whether on the battlefield or in the boardroom, victory often belongs not to the strongest, but to the most deceptive. Appear confident when uncertain. Show weakness when it buys sympathy. Hide your motives beneath layers of calm and curiosity. The art lies in manipulating perception without ever losing sight of reality. But the deadliest trap in this game is self-deception. The moment you start believing your own lies, you begin to crumble. History is filled with rulers and leaders destroyed by their illusions, emperors who thought themselves invincible, generals who mistook fear for loyalty. They built empires of deceit, only to be buried beneath them. Tactical deception is about clarity. Self-deception is blindness. The true strategist deceives others while remaining brutally honest with themselves. They wear masks without forgetting their face beneath. They play roles but never confuse them for identity. In a cruel world, sincerity is often a weapon turned against you. Deception protects you from predators, buys you time, and keeps enemies uncertain. But wield it like a scalpel, not a hammer, precise, deliberate, and always under control. Because the moment you start living inside your own illusions, the world will no longer need to destroy you. You'll do it yourself. Mercy is often praised as a virtue, but in the real world it is a privilege that only the powerful can afford. The weak preach kindness because it protects them from confrontation. The strong practice mercy because they can. True mercy is not softness, it's strategy. Forgiveness without power is submission. Forgiveness with power is control. History remembers Alexander the Great not only for his victories, but for his restraint. After conquering Persia, he spared the defeated king's family, a calculated act that turned potential enemies into loyal subjects. His mercy was not moral. It was tactical. It projected dominance through compassion, making his authority seem both inevitable and benevolent. This is the essence of calculated mercy, restraint as performance, generosity as power. Machiavelli warned that excessive compassion can destroy rulers faster than cruelty. Those who hesitate to act when firmness is required invite chaos. Mercy, when given too early or too often, erodes fear and respect. It teaches others that boundaries can be broken without consequence. In the cruel game of survival, such hesitation is fatal. Yet, when used deliberately, mercy becomes a weapon of influence. A powerful leader who spares an opponent at the height of victory controls not only their enemy, but the narrative of the act itself. Mercy creates psychological debt, a chain stronger than fear. The spared remember who allowed them to live, and that gratitude, mingled with fear, binds them tighter than punishment ever could. This law demands moral clarity. Mercy is not goodness. It is governance. It should never be impulsive, never emotional. Every act of forgiveness should serve a purpose, to stabilize power, maintain image, or cultivate loyalty. Anything less is self-sabotage disguised as virtue. The cruel world does not reward blind compassion. It rewards precision. Mercy, when earned and executed from a position of strength, elevates you beyond dominance. It makes you untouchable. Those who wield it wisely are remembered as leaders. Those who misuse it are forgotten as victims. Remember this truth. Mercy is not the opposite of power. It is the final expression of it. The calm hand that spares when destruction would be easy, and in doing so, reminds everyone who truly decides what mercy means. To understand these laws is not to abandon morality, it is to redefine it. Survival in a cruel world doesn't require you to become heartless. It demands that you build a morality strong enough to survive contact with reality. The naive think goodness and power cannot coexist, but they can when guided by clarity instead of illusion. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." In other words, morality should serve life, not cripple it. Nietzsche called this moral adaptability. The ability to act according to one's own values while recognizing that the world rarely rewards sentiment. Your code should be self-forged, not borrowed. It must allow you to act decisively without betraying your essence. True integrity is not about obedience to rules, but alignment between thought, action, and consequence. Morality without strength becomes martyrdom. Strength without morality becomes tyranny. Balance both, and you become something rarer. A conscious force, ruthless in clarity, yet intact in spirit. You cannot control the cruelty of the world, but you can decide who you become within it. Survival, then, is not merely about endurance, it's about evolution. The wise do not choose between morality and power. They learn to wield both without apology. In the end, every law you've learned, every principle of survival, power, and control leads to one ultimate truth: adapt or die. Survival has never belonged to the strongest or even the smartest. It belongs to those who can bend without breaking, who can evolve faster than the chaos around them. The cruel world does not slow down for anyone. It shifts, mutates, and consumes those who refuse to move with it. Adaptability is the final weapon, the one that decides who endures when everything else falls apart. The first law taught you to abandon entitlement. The world owes you nothing, and once you accept that, you stop waiting and start acting. The second law revealed that control is an illusion, yet mastery lies in how you respond to that illusion. The third law turned fear from an enemy into a tool, an emotional currency that, when spent wisely, buys influence. The fourth law showed that reputation is not vanity but armor, the reflection of your strength in the eyes of others. The fifth law turned inward, teaching that emotion, when disciplined, becomes precision rather than weakness. The sixth law embraced deception, not as immorality, but as strategy, the art of shaping perception to survive among predators. The seventh law crowned it all, mercy, not as softness, but as the privilege of power, proof that control can coexist with restraint. Each law is a blade sharpened by awareness, forged in truth, and carried by those who refuse to live as prey. Yet all these principles crumble without adaptability. Rigidity is death, flexibility is dominance. To adapt means to observe, to learn, to transform faster than your circumstances demand. It means remaining calm in uncertainty, shifting strategy without losing direction, and reinventing yourself before the world forces you to. The greatest survivors, emperors, leaders, thinkers, warriors, were not immortal because of strength, but because they knew when to change. In a world where chaos never sleeps, evolution is the only constant. The predators of one era become the fossils of the next. Power itself evolves. So must you. Adaptation is not cowardice, it is the highest form of intelligence, the recognition that permanence is an illusion and resilience a choice. So remember this final commandment. The cruel world won't change for you. It doesn't care if you're tired, broken, or righteous. It will keep moving, keep testing, keep devouring the unprepared. You have one option: evolve. Adapt your mind, your strategy, your perception. Become fluid, unpredictable, untouchable. Because in this world, survival is not about what you hold, it's about what you can become when everything is taken away. The cruel world won't change. So evolve before it eats you alive.